tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So before I begin my talk, I would like to acknowledge the people of this beautiful land. They are the traditional Gandangara people. They are the traditional owners of this land, and I would like to pay my respects to the past, present, and future elders of this nation, this land. My name is Venerable Karunika, and I have come here from Dhamma Monastery in Western Australia. And maybe many of you have not yet met us because we are quite new to Santi. And earlier last year, we got an invitation from Maya Jitindriya and Ayajai Sara inviting nuns from Dhammasara to come over to Santi to help establish a nuns community here. And the sound of that inspired my heart, fully knowing that there are very few places available for women to practice and live the holy life just like the monks, living in a beautiful forest setting, living in kutis on their own, practicing. And that kind of opportunity is actually very rare at the moment in the world, especially for Theravada Buddhist nuns. So I had a lot of inspiration to help out with this project. So I volunteered myself, and I also encouraged Venerable Analia to join me. And then we were joined by Venerable Achala in June as well. So now we have been three Bhikkhunis staying at Santi this rains retreat. Last weekend I celebrated my 10-year anniversary from Pabaja, that is my novice ordination. And so I have been a nun for 10 years and a Bhikkhuni for 8. And it's interesting to see how much time it takes to finally really settle in to monastic life, and I still feel like I'm settling in. At the same time, it's also nice to have the opportunity to help out other people who would like to take up monastic life and have the opportunity to walk the path. So that's what we are trying to do and be here. And due to the COVID, it was unfortunate that the monastery was closed for most of this time. But I hope that now that it is open, that you will all be able to come and visit us and meet us. And we'll get to know each other and share some Dhamma. And that is also why we are here, to be of service to also the greater community, the greater Buddhist community in the eastern states. So I welcome you on behalf of the Santi community and look forward to seeing you all. And we are also very sorry that we couldn't have a actual end of the rains retreat ceremony, and because we don't have enough facility. Hopefully in the future we will have better facilities that are safe for both the residential community and for you all. So that So this past 3 months was one of the most peaceful rains retreats because of the lockdown. There was not much going on at the monastery. So each one of us had 1 month to stay in solitude and practice and turn inward and really investigate our mind and cultivate it. So why is it that it is so important? What is the importance of staying in the forest, in solitude? This reminds me of a sutta that the Buddha mentioned. At one time, the Buddha was walking through India together with a group of monks, and as they were walking, they saw one monk sitting at the edge of a village, so at the edge of the forest, but bordering the village. He was having this perfect posture, and was in really good meditation, you could tell. The Buddha looked at this monk and he said to the other monks, "I'm not happy with this monk." But he didn't say anything and he kept on walking. And they entered the forest, and as they were going through the forest, they saw another monk sitting deep inside the forest, but he was like dozing off and half, fallen asleep, trying to meditate, but clearly under sloth and torpor. But the Buddha looked at him and said, "I'm happy with this monk." And later in the evening, the monks asked, "Why were you happy with the monk who was just, falling asleep? And you were not happy with the monk who was in perfect posture and meditating very beautifully at the edge of the forest?" He said, the Buddha said, "Sooner or later, somebody from the village or the town will come and disturb that monk. And then he will lose his peace of mind and it might distract him. But the other monk who was deep in the forest, he is surely, having some tiredness or some sickness, and yes, currently under some sloth and torpor. But after some time, he will get over it. And after some time, he will build up some more energy. And then he will be able to meditate. But deep down in the forest, he will be safe. Nobody will come and disturb him. So he will be able to grow in his meditation." And it was true. Not long after, the other monk surely got distracted and he ended up disrobing and getting married. Whereas the other monk who was inside the forest, after some weeks or months later, he became fully enlightened. So this is just to show how much the Buddha appreciated and praised living away from the city, away from the villages, and far away from all these busyness where there is a lot of things happening. Why is it that? What's the reason? City or villages or places where lots of people are, they're places of sensuality. They're full of sensual excitement. People there just go for eating nice food, into restaurants, cafes, or to cinemas, to listen to music, to watch movies, dancing, singing, work. These are the kind of things that happen in the city. But when it comes to a forest, it's quite different. It's a place there is very little room for these kinds of sensuality. Sure, there are beautiful plants or some beautiful scenery, maybe some cute animals, but that cannot be compared. They're not as distracting. They're much more peaceful. They're more settling to the mind. So that is why every time when the Buddha would mention or have an instruction about deep meditation, he would often say, "Aranya gatova, rukka mula gatova." That means just going into a forest under the foot of a tree. Those are the places that is conducive for developing deep meditation. So how can we use this beautiful forest environment to take our mind away from this sensuality? So there is in the Chula Sunyata Sutta, the Buddha mentions how to do this, and that is to just see what is not here. Like we are usually very familiar about seeing things that are here, but we never notice what's not here. But the Buddha gives here another idea, another instruction to say, just see what's not here. So right here in this forest, as I'm sitting here, this place is free of traffic. This place is free of all these buildings, restaurants, shops, people. All these are not here. What is here is some trees, some animals, and winds passing through, and it's much more peaceful. So the Buddha invites us to just perceive that all those things have now departed. We are empty of those busy things. But what's here is something that is very peaceful. much more subtle and delightful to the mind. So when we establish our mind into here and now, into something that is beautiful in the nature, it's a beautiful stepping stone to bring the mind to the present. Because the nature of our mind is to get carried away into the sensual world, because that's what we have been playing in, that we have been enjoying ourselves in for a long time, for many lifetimes. So it's habitual. However, that's not helpful, because it's very distracting and it brings up a lot of defilements in us, either whether it's greed, or whether it's anger, or whether it's our sense of self, jealousy. All these things can come up when you are playing in the sensual world. However, when we are far away from that, in this beautiful natural environment, we can let those things to go and instead start perceiving what's here, these beautiful natural elements that surrounds us, and ground our mind in that. I find it that's helpful, to let the busyness to go away and to establish mind in the here and now, feeling the wind in my face, or the little sunlight that comes through the forest, the sound of the crickets or the birds. These things are delightful but peaceful, and it's very grounding. So this is quite a conducive condition for us to cultivate our mind. So it is important from time to time. Everybody has this opportunity. In Australia, where we are very lucky, there are many national parks. There are beautiful other parks or ponds and lakes, even in the suburbs. So it's nice to take the time to go for a walk and sit by a little lake and just come home to the nature and leave behind all the busyness of your life, your work, your family, any problems, COVID, all that. You can allow that to disappear, and you can bring your mind just to this very beautiful present moment, together with the nature, and be in a very quiet, beautiful place for a little while. Relaxing like this and being able to let go of our troubles is a very important thing that we all need to learn, because there is no end to things that is happening in our life. There's no end to troubles. One finishes, the next one starts. But we need to learn to stop from time to time, so that we can rejuvenate ourselves, get some energy back into our mind, get some real joy and happiness into our mind. So it is beautiful that we can all do this. If we really want to, it is possible. And you're also all welcome to come and visit the monastery. It's open now, and the visitors can come and enjoy the beautiful gardens, and some of you can also come and stay and have this time to be able to practice and enjoy and know another kind of happiness that is also available to us. Most of the time, the happiness we know is the happiness that we know from getting things, and getting things in the sensual world, whether it's listening to our favorite music, eating our favorite food, going out with somebody we really enjoy. These are the kind of things that normally we think bring us happiness. But sometimes it's nice to check your mind and see, does it really bring happiness, or is there another kind of happiness? So sometimes when you just sit peacefully near the ocean, it could be, or in front of a little river, or on top of a little rock like I am doing right now, and just see, that kind of thing can also bring another degree of happiness of letting things be, allowing things to go and fade. And I find this kind of happiness is more stable, more lasting, and grounding. And it gives a lot of energy to the mind and energy to the body, and a lot of healing can happen. So it is important for us to notice these things. There is real happiness, but where is the real happiness? The world says happiness is found in sensuality, but the Buddha says the happiness is to be found when you let go of sensuality. So try it out for yourself and see it as an experience, because it is available right here and right now for all of us. And it's beautiful that we have these teachings of the Buddha, so we can really experience some real happiness and joy and cultivate our mind. Another thing that I would like to mention is also, even if you may not be able to go to a place that is peaceful and a natural environment, our mind has incredible abilities. You can actually sit down, close your eyes, and then bring a memory of being in a beautiful place, a peaceful place. And then again, you can still do the same thing of letting all those other things to fade away and focus your mind into that beautiful, peaceful place and establish it there. This is how we train our mind to really focus on what is peaceful, what is beautiful, and also learn to let the other things that are disturbing and distracting to fade away. This is something we can practice and learn and become skillful and become experts in, and it's quite helpful. Like I said, our troubles and problems never end, they keep coming. But when we learn this kind of skill to be able to, even temporarily, let them to fade away and not give them attention, because it is whichever thing that we give attention to, that is what becomes our main thing in our mind. And if we pay attention to the things that go wrong, the people who are difficult, or the any problems, the sicknesses in our lives, then that is what becomes prominent in our mind, and that is when we become sad or angry or suffer a lot. But we have a choice. We also can look at look at things from another angle, or we can choose what we want to look in the same experience. Every experience offers many things in there, but habitually we take things that are, sometimes negative. It seems to be the habit of human minds to naturally take up these negative aspects. But as we train our mind, this is the cultivation of the mind, that we train it to also look at the beautiful side of things. Even if it is something very small, you can still learn how to look at the little bit of beauty that is there and make it more and more. This is a beautiful skill that we can all learn, and it is very helpful to learn this kind of skill. This also reminds me a beautiful sutta that the Buddha mentioned about removing resentment, because what we are talking about here is our ability to change our perceptions. Like, what you perceive, we have a choice. We can perceive either negative aspects of life or the positive aspects of life. There is a choice. So we can train ourselves. Which one do we want? Which one is beneficial? So in this sutta, in the Removing Resentment Sutta, which is in Anguttara Nikaya, book 5, the Buddha says, if you have people who are difficult in your life, let's say these are people, maybe they do bad things by their body, like maybe they kill or they steal, or these kinds of people. But there are people, they have very beautiful speech, they speak very kindly, they always say the truths, they like to develop harmony between people, so they have a beautiful aspect. But normally in our life, what we might do is we will think about the bad side of that person. Oh, he kills or she steals. But the Buddha encourages us, don't look at that side. Instead, look at the good side of the person. They speak beautifully, because that's the only thing that is helpful. So the simile that the Buddha gives is, maybe you're really, really thirsty. It's a hot day and you're looking for water. And you come across a pond that is full of algae. So this algae is like all the bad qualities, but there's some water underneath. So the Buddha says, if you are thirsty, just push away the algae and take some water and drink it and subside your thirst and become cool. So this is just the Buddha's way of saying, yeah, don't pay attention to the negative aspects of a person or the negative aspect of a situation. Instead, give attention to what is helpful. That is the only thing that is useful for you. That is the only thing that will heal you, that is helpful for you. So this is a beautiful training in our life to try to do this as much as possible. It takes time, it takes patience, but as we do it, it is us who benefit from it. The world just is as it is. It has good things, it has bad things. But if we can learn how to perceive the good side and let everything else to just fade away, then that is quite helpful. And this is beautiful, and I would like to just encourage you all to try this out from time to time. And from time to time, to bring your mind into seclusion, into a peaceful place, and incline it towards positive states and see how that feels. And that's what I would like to offer as a little Dhamma reflection for this Rains Retreat Dhamma talk. And I hope everybody good health, joy, happiness and peace. And we look forward to seeing you in person sometime at Santi.